Okay, we're gonna have a video about how to long run, starting with why on the earth do I say do long run tired most of the time. You won't see elite runners do that, at least very, very rarely. They're usually running much higher volume than most of us can sustain. Frankly, when I see someone running a 95-mile week who's totally capable of it, and then they tell me they don't do long run tired, I go, I would be tired all the time if I ran that much. In the case of those of us who do not have the time or the joints for high volume, for running 70-plus mile weeks ongoing, the main key to getting finished with an ultra, not to running the fastest ultra in the world, not to running Western States in 19 hours or something, but to getting it done very competently, is to be used to tired legs. When your legs are tired, your form changes. When your form changes, you blister in brand new places, your joints hurt, things go to heck. So that's why this is those back-to-back long runs, which are most training plans, and that's why I put long run after hills. What's too much long run? I would say that once you get past 30 miles, it's pointless. Tapering for a 50-miler and then running a 50-miler as a race, even if you say it was a training exercise, tapering and doing a proper recovery is not the same as doing a training run. You're going to be a couple weeks recovering from that 50-miler. If you keep doing that in your training, you're going to spend so much time recovering you can't do proper interval training. You'll suffer, you'll slog things out, but you will ultimately up your injury risk. So that's why I think 25 miles is plenty. 30 is fine. Past that, you're starting to do more risk for less reward. There are definitely some elite runners who don't run past 20 in training, in single runs. A lot of them are also doing 2 a day, so they may do 5 miles in the morning and 20 in the evening, or the reverse of that. Okay, so over 7 hours gets pointless. Over 30 miles gets pointless. If you're doing a back-to-back long run, day 1, kick that off at about 4 hours, and then day 2 you're doing 5 to 7. That's a peak out weekend. You could always elect to do 3 hours of hill repeats before the long run instead if you really want to wreck yourself, or if your race is very hilly. So that you peak that out 3 weeks before your big event. And then the week and 2 weeks out you do 5 miles less, or maybe not do as hard of hills and cut your long run back to 20 miles, which is still substantial, and right now would be a lot. And then you do a really, really light weekend, the weekend before long run. Okay, so that's how much to do. Why do we need to speed up at the end of long run? Most common cause of failure in ultras is, besides not eating, can't pace. Can't pace worth a darn. And most people go out every single week and do a long run in which they run the first half faster than the second half and slog out the end. And then want to know why on race day they pace poorly and have to just drag and, what do we call it? Not disaster hiking. Oh, the death shuffle. A lot of people end up doing that. Those same people are practicing every single week, so try to push the end of your long run when you can't. Realize you need to slow down earlier. What if that means you're hiking literally half or even 2/3? Well, figure out your average pace per mile. 32-hour 100 miles, 19-minute miles. 30 hours is 18 minutes. If you can average 15-minute miles, you're doing a 25-hour finish. We're already practicing tired legs. So really, as long as you can stay comfortably under 20 minutes, your pace is fine. If you can't average 18-minute miles when you are jogging 1/3 of the time, either you're really up in the mountains on something very hilly, or we do need to work a lot more on strength, and you need to do more intervals on interval day. Not longer, more, like 12 by 1.5 minutes. And that pace will start to come up. Don't worry about it if you're not there yet. Keep trying, but there's your pace. It's a long lecture. Okay, what's next? I made notes. See how serious I am? Okay, so we're learning how to pace. Y'all, it's going to pay off on race day. Every 4th long run. You can occasionally do every 3rd or every 5th, but generally every 4th long run should not actually be a long run. It should be way cut back, like 1/3 of your usual distance, because you need to recover fully here and there. If you just keep building every single week ongoing, you're going to get injured. Almost for sure. Maybe not, but usually. Okay, learning nutrition. In order to finish things that are trail 50K, that are aggressive 50Ks, not flat, and especially anything longer than that, you need usually 250 to 300 calories an hour. You're not going to sustain it all the way through the end, but if you don't start there, at least after hour 2, because some people eat big breakfasts, you are going to build a deficit. And a lot of people will say, no, I was fine at 170 calories an hour. I was totally fine. It was just my endurance failed at mile 47. Your endurance didn't fail at mile 47. if I don't eat enough calories by 40 calories an hour for my first hour, I'll be fine. I have reserves. I'm not that far behind. But that little deficit, it's gonna be cumulative. And by the time I hit mile 47, I'm gonna have a massive deficit. Sometimes by the time I hit mile 35, it's gonna vary with how big that deficit is and how tolerant I am to calorie deficits. At any rate, 250 to 300 calories an hour is most people. If you're a much smaller runner, especially for those of us that are a bit older, if you have already started to have declining estrogen, you may have a slower metabolism. You may be okay at 220 to 250, but this is not the time to diet, folks. We will have a whole separate lecture of what to put in. There's so much choices. But, so how to practice that? Well, I can go and do a 4-hour long run on 0 calories or 1 gel. I can go do my 6-hour run on 3 gels, right? So how to practice? Well, the reason I can do that is I ate breakfast and I'm finishing with a huge deficit, and then I'm eating a big lunch. So what we're gonna do for long run, at least 2 of them out of the month, it's gonna be discussed more in training plans starting in February. I'm gonna only add so much at a time as I expect it done, is to skip breakfast. Have your stuff set out the night before for your run. Have everything ready to go. Have many calorie options. Have them in your pack. Get in your car. If you're a coffee drinker, fine, have coffee. Some of us need it in order to relieve ourselves in the morning quite fully of everything in our system. Poop. Some people need coffee to poop. I'm talking to Carmel's 6-year-old. But you all know where I'm going with that. So you're going to have all these calorie options. You're going to go directly to your trailhead, park your car, get out, and start your run. You can start eating the second that you start your run. If this means you walk, if you walk for 20 minutes or even 30 minutes at the beginning of long run because you are snacking, because you're starving, because I made you skip breakfast, that's okay. Again, not fasting during the run, learning to eat. Because of course you can't practice eating 250 calories an hour when you had breakfast and you had your morning shake and you had whatever. If you've got some kind of vitamin thing you're doing that's very low calorie, fine, have it. Or even bring it to the trailhead and drink it by your car maybe. But you know, the timing of those isn't super important.
Make so the again, face when we said poop.
Poop.
What was your face?
Sayla didn't know that grown-ups can
Sayla's videoing for us today.
So, that's how we're going to learn how to practice putting in calories. And you're going to find that some things work and some don't, and some work better in cold and some in hot. And some things seem like a good idea, but the later you get in your long run, the less they appeal. But you will get used to calories the whole time. If your legs are tired at the start, and you're starving, and you start snacking and walking, your body will loosen up, and you will feel better and better as you go. And that will teach you on a very fundamental level. On your autopilot, I can't think, but my body just knows this is how it works. After several months of this, your body will know when I hurt, I'm tired, I don't want to be here, that if I just start putting in snacks and I keep walking, I will feel better. And if that's your body, something you know on a physical level, then when you get tired at 1 in the morning in the 100 and your pacer no-showed you and your brain isn't working, you'll know that your legs hurt and you don't feel great and you're exhausted and there's no calories in you, and if you just keep walking and put some stuff in, it will be okay. You'll feel better. And you can keep going to the end. Sun will come back up. So that's about everything about long run that we need right now. Okay?